Have you ever noticed that there are people around us who are almost invisible on social media? Not a single photo, not one story. A whole year goes by and their profile stays so quiet that you sometimes wonder, is this even a real account or just a fake bot? It's like they're living in a parallel universe, completely absent from this loud virtual world. And here's the interesting part. They're not older folks who are confused by technology, and they're not hermits rejecting modern civilization. They're young, active, living right in the middle of busy cities. They go to work, hang out with friends, and still hold the newest smartphone in their hands. But in a culture where it feels like everyone is constantly shouting for attention, sharing everything from their morning coffee to their tiniest random thoughts, they choose total silence. They refuse to leave behind any digital footprint of themselves. So, what are they hiding? Or is there something much deeper behind that silence? Complex psychological mechanisms we don't fully understand yet. Today, let's peel back this mask and decode the inner world of these ghosts on social media through 4 of the most common psychological types. Group 1. The introvert who protects their private life. There's a type of person who lives very quietly, not because they have nothing to share, but because they don't want to share with too many people. To them, life is like a house with many doors. Close friends can step into the living room. Family can go into the kitchen. But not everyone gets to enter the bedroom. Social media to them feels like taking all the doors off and letting everyone look inside, and that makes them uncomfortable. You might know someone named Ethan. In real life, Ethan is cheerful, thoughtful, and smart. He works hard, goes hiking or on road trips on the weekends, and has cozy get-togethers at night. But Ethan's Instagram is almost frozen. Same profile picture for years. No birthday post. No relationship status updates. No posts about his latest trip. Many people think Ethan is mysterious or too low-key. But the truth is, Ethan just wants his life to belong to him. In reality, introverts are not against connection. They just choose selective connection. They prefer deep, private conversations where they can be themselves without being watched by a crowd. When everything goes online, the line between intimacy and publicity gets blurry. One simple photo can trigger a chain of reactions you didn't expect. And for an introvert, that unpredictability creates stress. Introverts often lose energy when they receive too much attention. Every comment becomes a small conversation. Every message is an interaction that needs a response. For an extrovert, that's fun. For an introvert, that's energy being drained. They need alone time to recharge. But when they post a picture, they accidentally open the door to a flood of interactions they can't control. Where are you? Who are you with? Why didn't you invite me? Are you guys still together? These questions may sound harmless, but they can feel like an invasion of personal space. On top of that, introverts tend to think deeply and analyze a lot. They don't just see the photo they're posting. They imagine how other people might interpret it. They think about the looks, the stories people might make up, the small misunderstandings that could spread. This sensitivity to social context makes them more cautious, not because they're weak, but because they understand the weight of going public in the digital age. Psychologically, this is a boundary-setting mechanism. Boundaries help people maintain emotional safety. When you don't overshare, you control who knows what and at what level. Introverts are often sensitive to intrusion. They don't like the feeling of their life being examined or talked about behind their back. They don't want every personal decision to become a topic in a group chat or on a news feed. So silence becomes a way to keep control. To them, privacy is not secrecy. Privacy is a right. The right to keep certain moments just for themselves and the people they truly trust. The right to live without constantly explaining. The right to change and grow without announcing every step to the world. As they grow older, they become even more aware of the value of keeping part of their life to themselves. Some family dinners don't need photos. Some happy moments don't need proof. Some joys feel more complete when fewer people know about them. A relationship that stays private can sometimes be more stable. An achievement that isn't posted online can feel more meaningful because it isn't diluted by outside opinions. They understand that constant online presence does not equal real connection. They choose fewer relationships, but deeper ones. They choose face-to-face meetings over hundreds of virtual interactions. They choose peace over attention, and that silence gives them a very special kind of freedom. Freedom from being watched, from expectations, from unconscious comparison. In a noisy world full of notifications and constant updates, they choose to keep a quiet corner for themselves, and to them, that quiet is not a lack of something. It's strength. Group 2. The ones who are afraid of being judged. Unlike the first group, these people don't avoid posting because they don't want to. They just don't dare to. Their phones are full of beautiful photos, so many memorable moments. But right before they hit post, they overthink everything. You might know a girl named Emily. Emily takes amazing pictures. Weekend brunch. She has photos. A beach trip with friends. Photos. Even a quiet afternoon reading at a cafe has perfect lighting and angles. But her Instagram is almost empty. Every time she plans to post, she edits for a long time, changes the filter, crops the frame again, writes a caption, then deletes it. Afraid it sounds like bragging. Afraid it sounds too serious. Afraid of being misunderstood. Afraid someone will leave a sarcastic comment. And in the end, she closes the app. What's happening isn't just normal hesitation. It's the fear of being judged. And that fear doesn't come from nowhere. Maybe in the past, Emily was criticized for her looks. Maybe classmates made fun of her. Maybe she once posted a photo and got a comment that stuck in her mind for a whole week. The human brain remembers negative social experiences very strongly. From an evolutionary point of view, being rejected by the group used to be a real danger. So once someone feels publicly hurt, the brain learns to avoid similar situations, and social media is basically a mini crowd. Each post feels like stepping onto a stage. No real spotlight is shining on you. But the feeling of being watched is very real. You know, hundreds of people might see it. They might judge. They might compare. They might say nothing at all, and even silence can lead to overthinking. Why are there so few likes? Did I post at the wrong time? Do people think I'm being too much? These questions repeat again and again in their head. Social media also makes comparison easy and constant. Scroll for just a few minutes and you'll see someone getting promoted, getting engaged, buying a house, traveling to Europe, showing off a toned body. Carefully selected images create an unspoken standard. If someone is already sensitive to judgment, it's easy to feel not good enough, not pretty enough, not successful enough, not interesting enough. And when that feeling of not enough already exists inside, posting feels like entering a competition you're not sure you can win. When self-worth depends too much on outside approval, every post becomes a test. If there are many likes, they feel temporary relief. I'm okay. If engagement is low, their mood drops. Maybe I'm not attractive. Their emotions rise and fall with numbers. Their self-esteem becomes tied to an algorithm, and that is exhausting. So, to avoid feeling graded, they choose not to play the game at all. If they don't post, no one judges. If they don't post, no numbers decide their value that day. At a mild level, this can be a sign of social anxiety, the fear of being seen and evaluated. At a deeper level, it connects to unstable self-esteem. When the inside doesn't feel solid, the outside becomes the measuring stick, and that measuring stick keeps changing. One negative comment can stay in their memory for years. Even a mocking emoji can make them overthink for hours. So, withdrawing becomes a form of self-protection. What's important is that this silence doesn't come from hating social media or feeling superior to the crowd. At the core, there is a deep psychological struggle. By instinct, they still crave connection. They want to be understood, to belong to a community, to share their own stories. But the moment the desire starts to grow, fear rises up like a wall. They are stuck in a painful paradox. They want to be seen so they won't be forgotten, but they're terrified of being exposed. They want to fit in, but they're afraid of becoming the center of judgment. When forced to choose between the need for connection and the instinct to protect themselves, they step back. Their silence is not a comfortable choice. It's the safest shield they have to hide from potential hurt. Group 3, the ones who are busy with real life. There's a very practical group of people. They don't spend much time thinking about whether they should post or not. They don't sit around analyzing what type they are. They're not trying to disappear on purpose. They simply don't have the time, or they don't see the need. Their lives are packed with responsibilities. Early mornings at work, meetings, deadlines, emails. At night, more things are waiting: cooking, cleaning, taking care of the kids, replying to family messages. On weekends, it's grocery shopping, paying bills, planning the next week. When they finally get a rare free moment, they want real rest, watch a movie, sleep a little longer, sit quietly, and do nothing. They don't want to edit photos, think of captions, or track responses from dozens of people. You might know someone named Michael. He got promoted after years of hard work, but you only found out in a random face-to-face conversation. He traveled with his family, but no photos were posted. He completed an important professional certification, but his LinkedIn stayed silent. Not because he wanted to hide it, but because he focuses more on doing than announcing. To him, achievements are the result of serious effort, not content for a status update. These people usually live in a very grounded rhythm. They don't see social media as a stage, just as a side tool. They might scroll through news while waiting in line, maybe watch a few stories at night. But building an online personal brand is not on their priority list. For them, every action needs a clear purpose. If posting doesn't create specific value, they won't spend energy on it. Psychologically, this is about resource allocation. The human brain has limits on energy and attention. Every day we make hundreds of small decisions. When the main goals are in real life, like career growth, raising children, improving health, activities that don't directly support those goals naturally move lower on the list. In this case, social media becomes secondary. Not bad, just not urgent. Also, many people in this group practice deep focus. When they work, they work. When they rest, they rest. When they have dinner with family, they are truly present at the table. They don't want to interrupt the moment by searching for the perfect angle or thinking of the right words. They understand that every time they pull out their phone to capture an experience, they step slightly outside of that experience. And for them, full presence matters more than digital proof. Interestingly, many of them don't care much about what others think of their activity level online. They don't feel pressured to maintain a constantly updated image. If someone asks, "Why haven't you posted anything lately?" they might just smile and say, "I've been busy." It sounds simple, but behind it is a very clear value system. Real life matters more than online presence. They also don't tie their self-worth to visibility. Success doesn't need to be public to be real. Happiness doesn't need to be shared to have meaning. They may appreciate recognition, but they don't actively chase it through posts. Their reward is in the process. A finished project, a solid workout, a heartfelt conversation with someone they love. For this group, social media is like a side room in the house of life. They can step into it when needed, but they don't live there. Their focus is on what can be touched, built, and sustained in real life. And because they are so busy actually living, they don't feel the need to prove that they are. To them, life is not content. It's reality happening every single day, full and complete with no audience required. Group 4, the ones who don't need recognition. This group has the strongest inner core. They don't avoid posting because they're afraid and not because they're busy. They don't post because they simply don't need to. They don't feel the need to announce to the world that they're doing well, improving, or feeling happy. For them, those things are already enough on their own. In psychology, there are two types of motivation: intrinsic motivation and extrinsic motivation. Extrinsic motivation is driven by external rewards such as praise, attention, status, or reputation. Intrinsic motivation comes from inner satisfaction, from knowing you are moving in the right direction by your own standards. Social media mostly runs on extrinsic motivation. Every like is a small dopamine signal. Every comment is social validation. Every share is a reminder that you are being seen. Many people unconsciously get pulled into this loop. Post, wait for feedback, receive attention, then repeat. But this group is less sensitive to those social rewards. They don't need someone to say, "You're amazing," to believe they're doing well. They don't need hundreds of people to know about their achievements to feel proud. When they reach a goal, they feel the satisfaction internally. When they overcome a challenge, they acknowledge it quietly. Their validation comes from within, not from a screen. If they go to the gym, they do it for health and personal discipline. They don't need to post a body photo to prove they're working hard. If they learn a new skill, they do it to grow, not to add another line to their bio. If they succeed at work, they focus on the next step instead of writing a long post about their journey. They clearly separate experience from image. They understand that real value doesn't increase just because it's visible. This often connects to a strong sense of identity. When someone knows who they are and what they want, they depend less on outside feedback to define themselves. They don't need social media to confirm their identity. They don't need attention to feel real. Their self-esteem is not tied to follower counts. There's a subtle difference with this group. They don't reject recognition, but they don't chase it either. If someone congratulates them, they say thank you. If someone praises them, they smile, but they don't feel empty without it. They don't feel pushed to keep posting just to stay visible. They're not afraid of being forgotten online. In a culture where attention is treated like currency, choosing not to chase it is a different path. This group clearly sees how social media works. They understand that algorithms reward exposure. They know much content is optimized to trigger reactions, not to reflect the full truth. So they don't confuse visibility with value. Another thing that sets them apart is their ability to delay gratification. They don't need instant pleasure from notifications or engagement. They accept slower but deeper rewards, long-term growth, inner peace, genuine relationships. These rewards are quiet, but they last. Their independence from the need for recognition gives them a deep kind of confidence, the kind that doesn't need to show off, doesn't need to prove, doesn't need constant reassurance. They can sit in a room without being the center of attention and still feel enough. They can achieve something big without announcing it. For this group, social media is just a tool, not a measure of worth. They may use it when necessary, but they don't let it define them. And in an era where many people search for meaning through attention, the ability to live well without an audience is a sign of strong inner power. After walking through these 4 psychological portraits, which group do you feel you belong to the most? Don't hesitate to share your story in the comments below. I'm genuinely curious about your perspective, because every personal experience is an important piece that helps us complete the map of the human mind. If you value deep and multidimensional analysis like this, subscribe to the channel and share the video to show your support. Your support is the greatest motivation for me to keep going on this journey of decoding the hidden mysteries of the human mind. I'm Apex, and I'll see you in the next decoding journey.